Oh, Daniel, going for it.
Taking a drive. What does going for it mean, Leslie? How do you interpret that?
Well, it's funny that you say that because go for it is one of our family's favorite phrases.
Mm-hmm.
If my kids ever ask me for something, I always say go for it.
Mm-hmm.
It's a challenge.
Yeah.
Because I want my children to grow up thinking that mommy's going to do everything for me. Or Frank, we're working on that because he lays a helicopter dad. But I always want my children to have the spirit of independence. And we've talked about that in independence versus dependence. But it's a challenge. Go for it. It's a challenge. And it is that enlightenment process of going from complete ignorance to mastery.
Amen.
And it is integrating everything that we've learned in all these previous episodes of self-talk, tuning into your inner wisdom, and using every single thing, every single concept, every single tip to actually go for a goal. Because we should have goals. We should have things to strive for. And they could be silly goals like taking a dancing class or going to a vacation somewhere or going for a particular job or making a certain craft. It could be anything. Everybody has goals. And I challenge people to go for it. And going for it can be scary.
Absolutely. Going for it can be challenging. You have to know what you want to go for, first of all.
Exactly.
How you're going to get there. And what are you going to do to drive for this? What are you going to do to put this in action? What are you going to do to be what it takes?
Right. Well, remember though, we talk about the how. We said that in a previous episode of life, thought, and action. The how is not, oh, Leslie, tell me exactly step by step what I have to do. Because remember, you've even said the prescribed path is not for everybody.
Absolutely.
And sometimes trailblazers don't even have a trail at all. They have to make the trail. But the how, again, is using your active imagination, going into your mind, imagining yourself in that achievement state, a success, and showing up for it when the signs come and present you the opportunity. And that drive, that internal drive of recognizing it, you can't turn it off. You just absolutely have to do it. And it seems like you have this magical energy coming from nowhere, from the ethers. And you just you want to get up. You want to go.
That's true.
You want to do something.
You're motivated.
You're motivated. But where does motivation come from? It comes from everything that we've talked in the series so far. Remember that turtle, the cosmic turtle and the cosmic eggs?
I sure do.
Well, that came from a conversation probably a week to 2 weeks before. I was in the car with my kids. We went to the beach, and my daughter Harper said, "Can we have a turtle, a tortoise, a turtle, a tortoise, or whatever?" And I was like, "This is what I said. I said, Harper, I'm not buying a turtle, but if you manifest a turtle, I will support you in having a turtle." So she said, "Okay, we have a turtle. We have a turtle." She went about her way, and I said, "Okay, well, I'll imagine with you you've got a turtle." And like a couple weeks later, I'm in my room having a nice long morning, and for some odd reason, I go past the blinds, and I open the shutters just a little bit. I don't even know why I did that, because it didn't change the light in the room. I moved them just a little bit. I looked out the window and I saw a freaking turtle walking across the path next to my house.
Oh my goodness.
And I just remember going, "Oh my God, everyone, there's a turtle!" And we all ran to get the turtle.
Yeah.
And we took care of it for a couple of weeks. It wasn't a long time, but she got to have the experience of a turtle. And then we also got the experience of letting her go back to her natural habitat. I know this is a very silly, simple concept, but
that's a big one.
But a turtle brought my daughter and my kids joy. It brought us all joy. It brought us joy to set her free.
Yeah.
Right? And that's the process of creation, going from one act of creation to another. We got the experience of a turtle, and we didn't hang on to it or hold on to it or go, "Oh, we didn't keep the turtle for the rest of our lives." We got the experience of having a turtle in our home, and that was cool, and let it go.
And then she want to go home.
She won't go home. She let us love her, and she was really cool. She interacted and looked at us and everything, and then we set her free. So the emotive complex of like concept of, well, she wanted a turtle, and then why open the window at that exact moment? Why was the turtle crossing the road at that exact moment? I can't make that. That's not the how. That ended up being the physical how of how the stepping stones of how that turned out. But the how was, little girl said in the back of the car, I'd like to have a pet turtle. And me saying,
absolutely.
You manifest it? Sure. We'll buy the turtle food and you can have a turtle.
It's incredible.
So it's a silly concept, but it applies to everything in your life. Don't worry about the how, as in what steps are going to be presented to you. Worry about the real how is, am I actively using my imagination and affirming with positive self-talk and feeling good about what I'm seeing and knowing that I deserve to have those things and do those things and be those things. And then are you willing to show up for it? Showing up for it is opening the window, running down the street, getting the turtle, taking care of it, changing its water and all of that. It wasn't work. It wasn't difficult. It was just showing up.
Being there, doing it.
Being and doing. Being, doing, having. That's not work.
No, it's just showing up.
It's just showing up. The work is here. The work is here. The work is in our minds. It's all of these things that we had been talking about. Harnessing that personal change.
Absolutely.
To manifest the life you want. It could be any kind of life you want. It's your life. You get to decide. But these are the tools that let you create that.
I love it. I love it.
You're kind of just like staring. What's that?
I know, I feel it. I just feel it. Like some of these talks we get into just really get me into the mind frame. You know what I'm saying? About how I implement this.
Yeah.
How I can take away from what we talk about and what we preach. Because whether or not you think about it, this is everyday stuff.
It is.
This affects everybody. I mean, I am accomplished in what I've done. And I have more to accomplish.
Oh, yes.
But I take away a lot from these because even though I can contribute and talk to it, it's still like, okay, whoa, I could even take this into consideration, this into consideration, this into consideration. It's a big thing.
Yeah.
Because some people probably look at us and they're like, okay, they're preaching. I don't feel a preach. I feel a whoa. Like, whoa, my head is spinning. Whether y'all see it or not, it's spinning because it's so goodness we talk about.
Right.
So much that can benefit the people.
Well, that's the power of having a coach.
Hey.
A good coach, may I say. Great coach.
Y'all, best friend applications are not being accepted. We're good.
Absolutely. You know, the thing is, though, is that drive can drive us to do anything. It can drive us to do horrific things. Scary thoughts, images in your mind can drive you to do scary things. It can drive you to hurt yourself or hurt others. And if you have a scary thought, and it could be of harm, self-harm, harming others, it's okay to get help. It's just a thought. It's not who you are. Now, when I went through postpartum depression and I was seeing scary thoughts, I saw images of children being hurt. And I was frightened. And I went to my doctor. I said, I'm seeing scary thoughts. And he said, you know those thoughts are not you, right? And I was like, oh, because I thought, oh my God, if I'm seeing images of children being hurt, am I an abuser? Am I a herder? Am I somebody who's inflicting pain? I was scared. And then the other thoughts were, well, had I been hurt when I was a child? Was I, creating false memories? I didn't know where these images would come from. And I was remembering 5 years later, I was telling Frank, oh man, all those years of seeing this, that period of seeing scary thoughts and all these years of not knowing about the child abuse. And my husband Frank looked at me and he said, look, I was abused as a child. And then it hit me. I was seeing those scary thoughts because every time he was in the room, I was seeing those thoughts. I was seeing his thoughts of his experiences. And this was like a very personal, private story that up until recently, he didn't want to share with the world. This is new information.
Yeah.
And he said, look, that's not my story anymore. And I was like, oh, you don't mind? He goes, hey, that's the story of yesterday. That's not the story of Frank today. That's the story of Frank from yesterday.
That's incredible.
And he's like, that's not me anymore.
That's incredible, Leslie, really.
So that's the thing I'm saying to you. If you're having scary thoughts, if you're having thoughts that are self-defeating, doubtful, self-destructive, you don't have to let those thoughts drive you insane, drive you to tears, drive you to hurt yourself or others. These serious emotive impulses that you have are there to help you to get help, to get heard, to heal yourself, and the power is all within you. Yes.
To push forward, to keep going, to believe in yourself, to be the best you.
Yes. We can't do it alone. That's why interdependence is so important. We've talked about this in the independence versus dependence episode. But it's important to start creating that community of people who will love you and to accept you. And sometimes when you're going through difficult situations in your life, such as depression, anxiety, sickness, whatever, divorce,
you need to reach out.
Reach out and start to work on yourself before your life will change. And that's what drive is. I've always figured that drive is an internal force. It's not just doing a bunch of random stuff or going to the gym and thinking you're going to get thin. It's about seeing yourself no longer as an unhealthy person and looking in the mirror and saying, I love you, you are beautiful, you are healthy, you're strong. And it's not about a number on a scale. It's I am the perfect weight for my body. I am the perfect tone for my body. I'm a short person. I'm 5'1". I'm a very muscular person. You see my arm? I've got a muscular body. And I'm thinking,
she shall do. After 2 kids, whoa.
You see me at the beach.
I ain't got 2 kids. I'm like, damn.
You know, and I'm just like, after having 2 kids, I'm like, am I ever going to get back to where I was? And I'm like, wait. Get back to where I was? I'm in a new place. I birthed 2 human beings. Take it for what it is. Get stronger, get better, get more beautiful. But why do you ever want to go back? You know what I'm saying? And that drive inside of you, that self-acceptance, that self-love, the visioning and the imagination of your mind, nothing ever created was just a fact. It was somebody's imagination. A beautiful design, a beautiful car, a beautiful work of art. It existed in somebody's world. I mean, creative people, artists, musicians, craftsmen, architects, contractors, they see exactly how it's built in their mind and they show up with all the parts and they just start making it.
It's incredible.
Where does that come from?
The factory. No, I'm just kidding.
IKEA.
It's the drive.
It's the drive. It's the imagination. And when you have a good product or a good project in your head, and it's like,
nothing can stop you from getting it, completing it.
Right.
Nothing can stop you. You have a drive to just get it done, to be there and show up and accomplish.
It's like, I think it was Beethoven or Mozart, one of the two had said, you know, the music's already been written, I hear it, all I do is write it down. That's the drive. It's the impulse, you can't help it. So it can be used for negative. You see in serial killers, you see in like genocidal maniacs, they've got the perfect image of how to destroy and to deconstruct. And they know exactly what to do. It comes from the same faculty, your imagination. It comes from the same faculty. The power to create, destroy is in your hands. And you have to ask yourself, am I going to destroy myself and others in this process of enlightenment? Because it's all enlightenment. Or am I going to become woke and start using these faculties that I have to create for the greater good, to create for myself, to really make change?
100%. That's y'all, that's Leslie. That's whoa. But we live in a world where you have to have drive. You have to be enlightened. You have to know your surroundings. You have to listen to your inner self. You have to have the wisdom. You have to be all around. You have to pay attention. And that drive is just the icing on the cake to get you to where you want to be. Without drive, I wouldn't be here today. Without drive, I wouldn't have accomplished what I've accomplished. Without drive, I wouldn't be able to implement this in my everyday life. Because when I go home, I know things are about to change. For the better.
Yes.
So take what we have to say and implement this into your life. How can you implement the drive of what you want in your everyday life? Is there something you're pushing to succeed already? Do you have the drive? And let me ask you, what do you drive? That's a big question. We want to know. We're curious, so let us know.
Yeah, we'd love to hear it in the comments.
And I was able to ask myself these questions.
Okay.
What's going on with you? Have you put the past behind you? Are you ready to ask for forgiveness? So many different things and so many different aspects. I had to ask these tough questions.
That when you say something, even when you pose it in the form of a question, the universe always provides you the answer. And in every question, there is an answer.
Because even 2 years ago, I would have never asked myself a hard question. I would have never been honest with myself. I would have never tried to problem solve. I just accepted what was in front of me.